Hi there, my name is Neil Blevins, and this tutorial is called Areas of Visual Detail and Areas of Visual Rest. So in my Contrasts and Composition lesson, which is available on my website and also on my YouTube channel, I discuss how you can use different sorts of contrast to direct the eye around an image. And one of those types of contrast is contrast of detail. So that tutorial is an overview of all the different types of contrast, but each type really deserves a deep dive. So this lesson will be a deeper look into specifically contrast of detail. Or another name for the same thing is areas of visual detail and areas of visual rest. It's something I use a lot, like for example in my Starship Hull images. Notice how you have these areas with very little detail and then areas with tons of detail. If the whole image were equally detailed, the eye would get overloaded and would quickly move away. But instead you add details to specific areas. The details draw the eye to that area because they contrast with the open areas. And then as the eye moves away, it's presented with a less populated area where it can rest before hitting another detailed area. Basically, you're trying to create large uninterrupted shapes with small condensed areas of detail. In the District 9 art book, there was a great phrase on the subject. They referred to this principle and how it guided the design of a number of the elements in their film. And the way they described it was simple overall shapes with moments of hyper-detailing punctuating the cleaner surfaces. So let's look at another example of the same sort of thing. So this image is a little bit dull. It has contrast in value, but the squares are all basically the same size. So let's vary the size, and this is better, but it's still not as interesting as it could be because the size variation is too random and it's kind of even over the entire surface. So let's play a little bit more. And this is far more interesting. You have areas of lots of detail and areas with less detail. You have contrast in value and size. And the eye is drawn in and stays for a little while instead of quickly leaving because everything is way too detailed. So here's a more practical example. This is a sci-fi power cell. So notice how you have areas here and over here that are very low detail, a few details here and there with a little bit of rust and whatnot, but for the most part it's pretty flat. And then when you go on the inside you have tons of detail, all of these pipes all layered on top of each other with little connectors and everything. And that helps draw the eye to this super detailed area, and if the whole thing were detailed, then the eye wouldn't know where to look. Here's another example, this one from the Megastructures book project. So this is a rung world, and notice each one of these McKendry cylinders. And they have some areas of reasonably less detail up at the top here, but then these areas here have tons of detail, and it kind of gets the eye to look at that, and when it looks at that it sees one of the more important parts of the cylinder, which is the entrance, which is how you get inside. It's the same with the planet. The planet is an area of very low detail, and then you have these small pockets of tiny spaceships to contrast with that lack of detail on the planet. And let's say for a second that the planet were just as detailed, like there were thousands of tiny clouds and bits and pieces of terrain. It wouldn't contrast with the spaceships, and if you squint your eye, the spaceships would be totally lost and you wouldn't even see them. So next time you're working on a painting or a 3D image, remember to balance your composition by making areas of visual detail and areas of visual rest. It'll look a lot better because of it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this short, but I think a very important lesson. And if you want some more lessons that relate directly to this one, feel free to check out my primary, secondary, and tertiary shapes tutorial, my contrasts and composition tutorial, and my clumping or grouping tutorial, which are all available on my website in the art lesson section or on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll be notified the next time I post a new lesson. Thank you very much.